Hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming to this video. This video is the part two of the introduction of mathematics in early years. So I'll be talking about uh, a part that we stopped from. In in one of my previous videos, I talked and gave you a little introduction about the mathematics that is done in preschool years, in other words, early years. So today I'm going to be discussing with you about some areas that we focus on in preschool years in this subject of mathematics. So the first topic I'm going to talk with you is numbers, geometry, measurements, algebra, and patterns and problem solving. So, numbers. So, under this category of numbers, we'll be talking about two different types of countings and two different types of numbers that the children may come across during their preschool years. So, the two types of countings that we are discussing is the rote counting and the rational counting. So, rote counting is the ability to say the numbers in order and involves the memorization of numbers. So, this is a skill that children should be having during their early years. The second type of counting is rational counting, which is also known as meaningful counting. This is the ability to assign a number to the objects counted. Children at age 3 can hold up fingers to indicate a quantity, and by age 4, they can count to 5 or 10 and can tell you what comes next. So, this assigning a certain number to an object, counting using fingers, is called meaningful or rational counting. So, the two types of numbers that children are coming with contact is the cardinal numbers and ordinal numbers. So, what is the difference between these cardinal numbers and ordinal numbers? Cardinal number says how many of something are there, such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and their answer, they answer the question, how many? If we ask a question like how many apples are there, so they give answer like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. That is coming under the category of cardinal numbers. Whereas ordinal numbers means if a child can tell the position of something in the list, such as first, second, third, fourth, fifth, like which tree is the tallest. If they ask like that, they might say the second tree. So telling a position is an ordinal number, whereas answering a question for like how many, it is cardinal numbers. Okay, so these are the things the preschool children are coming in contact with, learning in the mathematics in early years. And there are rules for writing or saying numbers. This is the base 10 number system that we use, 10 digits from 0 to 9, and we place the greatest value on the left. For example, 362 is written as 362. According to CO and Ginsburg, which is a paper written by, it says that a child's ability to write and say numbers does not guarantee their application. Just because a child can say numbers does not mean that they know the quantity associated with the number. Therefore, preschool children begin to put their understanding of one to use as they count up and develop the meaning of adding one more. So I think you got the understanding. There are rules where uh, we be using the base 10 number system, which has 10 digits from 0 to 9, and the greatest number comes to the left when we write like 362. 3 is the greatest value, so it comes to the left. So, and also, preschool children must develop the concept of order and seriation. Okay, now Under this category of numbers, now there are a couple of categories I will be discussing: number, geometry, patterns, problem solving. Under this category of numbers, when children are learning and engaging in the mathematics, they also develop these concepts of order and seriation. So, what is order and seriation? Order is the ability to count a number of objects once and only once, whereas series is the process of putting objects in a series, for example, from smallest to largest. Additionally, young children begin to group objects by their characteristics, such as yellow and blue. Okay, so I think you got the understanding of the order and seriation. Now we'll go to the second category. This is a very small description of what number is, what geometry is. These categories will be taught in detail in a separate video. This is just an introduction for the areas focused on mathematics in early years. Preschool children can use directional words such as up and down and over and under, as well as comparing words such as bigger and smaller, or longer and shorter. Additionally, children at ages 3 to 4 recognize and name shapes. Naming a shape is mathematics, it is language art. Mathematics comes in as students recognize and classify the attributes of those shapes. Additionally, students are beginning to compose and decompose shapes. For example, they may be able to make a square with two triangles. So these kind of skills, comparing skills, naming a shape, identifying a shape, comes to the category of geometry. Okay, the next category that we are talking is measurement. This measurement category also comes under the mathematics in early years. 3-year-olds can lay two objects side by side and tell which one is longer. By age 4, children begin to use non standard units to measure things. For example, they can tell you how many shoes long a desk is, although they need to use many shoes. They are not yet ready to use one shoe repeatedly. Children in preschools do not learn to tell time, but they are learning the concept of time. They talk about yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So these are several ways in which children in the preschool integrate measurement into their life. Not actually with time, temperature, length, distance, but in small things they can understand, they integrate them into their education. Second, the next category is the algebra and the patterns. Even though we think preschool children don't know any algebra, don't know any patterns related, but this all concept starts in preschool. So the basics of algebra, the basics of patterns comes from the preschool mathematics education. Preschool children do algebra by recreating patterns and making their own patterns. Children can recognize, describe, extend, and create patterns from a simple repeating pattern such as red, blue, to a more complex pattern such as red, blue, like that. They also notice growing patterns such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 4, 6, 8. The next category is problem solving. Problem solving is a critical at all levels. It allows students to solve a problem without stepping in too quickly. Children begin to link words and concepts. Therefore, teachers can begin to use story problems for teaching mathematics. In kindergarten, the words should be simple and short, and by first grade, students begin to write their strategies in a think problem solving process. Each of these content areas will be further developed in subsequent chapters. Yeah, so those are the categories that comes under the mathematics in early years: problem solving, algebra and patterns, measurements, geometry, and numbers. These are the categories that the teachers in preschool education has to focus on when they are doing mathematics in the classroom. So you can understand the basics of numbers, the basics of geometry shapes, and comparing the basics of all kinds of measurements, the basics of algebra, different kinds of patterns, and especially problem solving comes through the preschool education. So having mathematics in the preschool education is very important. Even we think that maths, they can do maths when they're a little older, but they have to get involved in these small activities like keeping things in order, in the ascending order, maybe telling how many things are there on the table by counting that, or integrating languages like yesterday, today, tomorrow into their day-to-day talks. Maybe identifying patterns like red, blue, or telling the numbers in a pattern, or involving in problem solving. That mainly the teachers uses problem solving by using stories and asking children if they come across any problem while telling the story, the teacher can ask the students, okay, children, what is the possible solution for this? What do you think we can do to this? They made the children think. So these kinds of ways are the categories, especially that you can focus on during teaching mathematics in your class or to a student. So that's the end of the introduction for mathematics in early years. So the next video I'll be talking about critical mathematical concepts for preschool children. So we'll see you with that one. Thank you so much for joining.